down at 10 to 15% in the institutions that grant PhDs.
Why?
It's the only discipline where participation by women has decreased over the last 3 decades. So I will talk about why. Okay. Now, if you look at engineering, it's very interesting. Bioengineering, chemical engineering, environmental engineering, they're up over 40% female. Computer engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, they tend to be like computer science, between 10 and 15% female. So huge difference even within engineering. And if you look at the number of women professors in science and engineering, it's still very low, especially at the most prestigious institutions. So Caltech, I think, just got the percentage of women in science and engineering faculty up. I think they just passed 10%. MIT is doing much, much better. It's at 14%. At Princeton, it went from 10% to 15% while I was there as dean. At Harvey-Mudd College, it's 35%. Pretty amazing. There's a reason for that. The reason why Mudd has so many more women is there are very few places that you can teach great students, undergraduate students, and be valued for your teaching. If you want to teach at Caltech, MIT, Stanford, Princeton, Harvard, they're going to put the primary emphasis on your research. And at Mudd, we recruit people who could go to one of those places, but they really care about teaching, and they want to be at a place that will care about that. And so it turns out that women tend to be disproportionately interested in students and teaching. And so when we make women an offer, they tend to say yes. Now, I started by saying that 40 years ago, it was really common for people to say really openly, just girls are not good at math and science. And I was talking to a group of students at the Claremont colleges about 2 weeks ago, and I asked them, how many of you, when you were in high school, heard somebody imply that girls were not as good at math or science? More than half of them put up their hand. So things have changed, but they haven't changed completely. So let me move to talking about why computer science is different from other disciplines, why there has been this decrease. And I need to start by talking about something that is a peculiarity, I would say, to the Western civilization, and in particular, it's particularly true in the United States and Canada. Our young people, and this is based on both research that I've done personally, but there's been a lot of other research that confirms this too. Our young people, when they think about what area they want to study in college, there are 2 primary factors that they look at are, number 1, what they're interested in, and number 2, what they think they're good at. That's more important to them than what their parents want them to do, what their teachers want them to do, what their friends want them to do. It's much more important to them than where there are job opportunities. And just think about how many times you've heard somebody say, pursue your passions and you'll be successful. Now, if you want to contrast this to, say, Asian cultures, for instance, Chinese cultures, that tends to be driven by what professions have stature, and there engineering has a lot of stature, science as well, and where there are job opportunities, it tends to be much more based, or if I look at India, for example, virtually every student wants to study computer science because that's perceived as being where the job opportunities are. Now, I don't know if you know this, but every single forecast that's been out there for the last about 10 years shows that computer science and information technology is going to be the best area to be in terms of job opportunities for the next 10 years. And even right now, if you listen to the news and they talk about the economic downturn, they'll talk about there's a couple of areas where jobs seem to be still being quite protected. Information technology is one of them. So in terms of job opportunities, you would think that a young woman would be interested in studying computer science, but they're not, because they don't think it's interesting and they don't think they'll be good at it. So let's just focus for a little while about why they think it's not interesting. So I just want to compare for a moment how biology as a discipline is perceived compared to computer science. So if you think about learning about biology, it's very easy for you to see that biology is important in terms of addressing both, sort of local problems and worldwide problems. You have to study biology in order to go to med school. You have to study biology in terms of thinking about environmental changes. And you could go on and all of the ways that studying biology is a great way to appreciate nature. And you can see that biology is something that would be very attractive to people who care about making a difference in the world. It also tends to be viewed as team-based. I mean, when you think about a breakthrough to create a new AIDS vaccine, this will not be one person working in their basement by themselves. This will be a whole team of people working together. And then think how many images you see in the media of female biologists, doctors, etc. It's really common, and we have lots and lots and lots of TV shows with attractive women of various ages who are doctors. And just when I go to the gym, the current show I watch most of the time is House, and there's Cuddy,